But first, we're talking now about passports, because with half-term and summer holidays on the horizon, people might be hoping to escape to sunnier weather.
But the 10-year rule that's been in the news quite a lot recently is continuing to cause confusion. Travel expert Ash Bhardwaj is answering your question. It is confusing, isn't it? So we've got a message here from Anne, right? She says, my passport was issued in March 2015, runs out September 2025. We're off to Gran Canaria this month. Will I be able to travel with this?
You're right, it is very confusing because until September 2018, if you renewed your passport but still had some time left on your old passport, you could carry that time over onto your new passport, up to 9 months. So you could have passports that actually had a lifespan of 10 years and 9 months. And what we've done, we've mocked up an example of a fake passport for Anne Anonymous. And on this passport, Anne carried over 6 months onto her new passport from her old one. So it was valid for 10 and a half years. But after Brexit, the majority of EU countries would no longer let you enter the country with a passport that was over 10 years old. So this is what's called the 10-year rule, and it has caught people out. You can get turned away at the gate, and the airlines don't tell you about this. It's your responsibility to check if your passport is within that 10-year time frame. So this counts for travel to all EU countries, excluding Ireland, but also Liechtenstein, Norway, Iceland and Switzerland. So to check, you need to look at the date of issue, and on the day that you plan on travelling to the country, your passport must be less than 10 years old. Now, Anne's passport was issued 9 years and 2 months ago, so she will be OK. She'll be fine to enter Gran Canaria, part of Spain, part of the EU. And the next thing to check is your date of expiry. So on the date that you're planning on leaving the country, you have to have at least 3 months left on your passport. So Anne is OK to travel with this passport, but if it had been issued a year earlier, she'd need to get it changed as soon as possible.
I've not been able to get my head around this until now. Thank you.
Yes, Ash.
On behalf of so many people, thank you.
So much sense, thank you. OK, so what is the most cost-efficient and effective way to renew your passport?
The best way to do it and the most affordable way to do it is online. That's the cheapest way.
Okay.
It costs £88.50 to renew an adult passport online. You can go in and do it at the post office or do it via paper, but it does cost a little bit more. And last year, 850,000 people missed out on saving £9 million by doing it with the paper way rather than just doing it online. So do it online if you can. However, it takes about 3 weeks to renew a passport. And there was that thing in 22, 23, where after the pandemic and because of strikes, it was taking a bit longer. At the moment, it takes about 11 days to get an adult passport renewed. But if anything has been flagged up by what we've been talking about today and you need to get it changed straight away, you can make an appointment and go in person at the passport office, and you can get it done in 1 day or 1 week. It's a lot more expensive. It's about double.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, £207.50 to get it done in 1 day, and you have to attend in person or send someone on your behalf to do it.
I do know a few people have had that panic because they've not realised.
Looking at me because you know I have to do mine.
Even after all the reminders,
Oh,
Kathy.
yes, I will.
Any other checks that we should know about at this point?
Yeah, so I always recommend that you go to the Foreign Office website and just see what the travel requirements are for the country that you're visiting. Some of the visa requirements are a bit different, and some countries require 6 months on your passport on the date of travel. So do always check that. You can also find recommendations for vaccinations and other health considerations on that website too.
Now, there were significant delays. I mean, we saw all the footage of it, and we can have a look at it again now, for holidaymakers following problems with passport e-gates at UK airports. Should we be worried about all of this?
That's just last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was terrible, yeah.
Yeah, so the e-gates they're using facial recognition technology, which we've already talked about, and it scans your face, checks it against the photo in your passport, so you can get through passport control quicker. Now, what happened on the 7th of May was there was a system-wide fault, and it was down for about 4 hours, so everybody had to go through in the old-school way by getting checked by a passport control officer, by border control, and that causes delays. Now, there's nothing you could do about that because it was a system-wide network issue. There was also one last year. And the best way to think about this is hope for the best, but plan for the worst. What would you do if the system went down again? Now, the only real issue for this is if you have connecting flights within the UK, say you're arriving into London or Manchester, and then you're going to be flying on to somewhere else. Now, travel insurance doesn't always cover delays like this. So if you're not sure, call your travel insurance provider, ask them, and you may need to pay an extra fee just to make sure you're covered for that part of your insurance.
If you are in France on holiday, like Pam, who's been in touch, do you need to carry your passport around with you in case you're asked by police?
So this is actually true. The police in France can ask you for your passport, and you have to show it. Or take it to a police station within 4 hours. And with the Paris Olympics coming up this summer, this is something that might affect a few people. So what are your choices? Now, I always carry my passport in a little passport holder. So I've got my passport in there. I keep my my global health insurance card. I keep a few details of my insurance and other things. So I've always got it on me. I wear it underneath my T-shirt, round my neck, round my arm. But you know, you may not want to do this. You might want to keep it in your hotel safe. Then if you're asked by a policeman, you can always go back and grab it and get to the police station with it. So balance it up on the risk versus reward. If you're travelling in a country where you might need to leave quickly, there's a chance of a natural disaster or something, then I always tend to carry my passport with me.
Well, it turns out, yeah, like you say, in France, you need to do it.
Yeah, Ash, thank you so much. You've cleared up so much. That was brilliant. Thank you. Now, all of the information that Ash has just mentioned is on our website now. You just go to bbc.co.uk/morninglive. Ash, we have a question for you. We've been talking about passports, of course, earlier today. We've had a question from Steve. I renewed my passport online, but every time I submit my photo, the system said it was no good. Why is that?
It's a bit offensive.
Yeah, so Steve...
Oh, it's their process, right, OK.
Steve might be falling foul of the normal passport photo regulations. You have to have a clear background, no hair on your face, no glasses. But the best way for him to get around this is to go into the post office and do the passport check and send service. They'll check through all of your documents. They'll even take a new photograph for you, and that costs £16, 1/6.
OK. I should
Thank you
sort
very
Steve
much.
out. There you go. Lovely. Yeah, forget you've got to take your
No, I
glasses
know,
off
and then clear your hair, and then you never actually look like that when you go through, because you got your hair in front. There we go. Yeah. Now it's time for Strictly Fitness with Nick.